You know the two things that are kicking major butt, keeping companies like the one I work at in the commerce lane? What are the two things? Ask yourself right now. You're watching, you're driving. What are the two things making linear TV still very lucrative? Politics, Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, and sports. Politics and sports are what keep the paychecks coming in my biz, your biz, the TV biz. What do we do with sports and politics that we don't do with other sitcoms or dramas? We argue about them. You raced to Twitter last night to talk about Trump. You maybe even still be complaining about Hillary. You were on that Facebook with Bernie Sanders. You're talking about LeBron's better than Michael Jordan or Michael's better than LeBron or Colin, you're an idiot. Russell Westbrook is the greatest ever. We argue and yell and scream with people we don't even know about sports and politics. You know all those people on Twitter? I don't. Some guy lives in a farm in Indiana. You live in a high-rise in New York and you're screaming at each other. That's what we do with politics and sports. And that's why last night, even though it's a blowout, even though it's the fourth sweep, Golden State and LeBron in the East and the Warriors in the West is great for the NBA. I know it was 24-7, 8 minutes in last night. You're saying this is a disaster for the NBA, and I'm saying no, it's not. By the way, you knew the ending of Titanic. You still sat through it. You knew it hit the iceberg. By the time you bought that ticket and sat down, you knew the ending. Why'd you stay for it? One of my favorite movies, I watched it with my son a month ago, was Apollo 13. I knew Tom Hanks was going to make it. I sat through it, watched it 6 times, maybe 7. In the end, it's history. We like history. We argue about history. We argue about presidents. We argue about congressmen. We argue about sports. This is not a disaster for the NBA. A disaster for the NBA is Wizards Spurs in the final. Bucks Blazers in the final. Hawks Utah in the final. Toronto against anybody in the final. That's a disaster. LeBron maybe surpassing MJ against the Warriors. You think that's a disaster? Let me ask you something. When is the last time you were with a buddy on a long car drive? You were with a buddy playing golf. You were with a buddy having a beer. And this was the conversation you had. Tell me the last time you had this conversation. Dude, Bob, remember like 25 years ago when like the NBA was wide open and anybody could have won? Oh, you've never had that. Either have I. We talk Shaq and Kobe, Jordan's Bulls, LeBron and D-Wade and Bosch's Heat. We talk about history in sports, and you're seeing it. A disaster is Wizards Spurs. Because that series is over, I talk about it in my opening rant and move right on to the NFL. The reason the NFL is king is 3 words. Extends the brand. The season ends, we still talk about it for 5 months. Draft, combine, free agency, Brady Montana. The NBA has always been the other sport along with the NFL that we talk about it in the offseason. Season ends, you got the ping pong ball draft, and then you got the free agency, and then if LeBron beats the Warriors, you're going to talk, is LeBron better than MJ? And if the Warriors beat LeBron, you're going to say this dynasty crap is no good for the NBA, but you'll be talking about it. That's why when you run to your Twitter at night, when John Wall has a good game, hey, Colin, what do you think about John Wall? I think it's 11:30 and you're in an apartment in Brooklyn, and you're tweeting me. I think I win. It's called extending the brand. It's why I go deep on topics and I don't budge. I'm okay with you liking me and I'm okay with you hating me. What I'm not okay with you is being indifferent. You're not indifferent to LeBron. You're not indifferent to Golden State. You got an opinion. That's the stuff you talk about with a buddy on a golf course or at a bar. Yeah, does it deaden? Does it numb us to the regular season? You're right, it does. I wouldn't deny that. But we all complained about the NFL regular season last year. Then the Super Bowl happened. Brady again in overtime. And we're all like, man, what a season. What a game. Can't wait for the draft. NFL is awesome. I just won $400. So this whole thing about 20 years from now, man, extending the brand, we're not going to be talking about, Wizards Spurs. You remember that one? Hell, the Wizards don't even sell out home games in D.C. People in the nation's capital don't care about them. They're like the fourth topic on sports radio. It's Redskins 1, Redskins 2, Bryce Harper 3, back to the Redskins, Maryland basketball, rinse and repeat. Not a disaster. This is the stuff we'll talk about. And if this thing goes 7, Warriors, and LeBron goes 7, are you kidding me? We're going to be talking about the NBA for 7 straight weeks, and then we'll shift to the NFL at the Hall of Fame game. That is not a disaster for the NBA.